Who are the underdogs that are most likely to win outright? Who are going to be the upsets in college football week number 13? Let's go on and start it off. The first one that I'm going to jump on, UConn, plus 330 at Syracuse. It's a sandwich spot for Syracuse, right? They've been going through this ACC gauntlet, the penultimate regular season week of college football. They end up scheduling a non-conference game. They've got Miami coming in next week. How much do they care about this UConn game? UConn is not bad. They're 7-3. Their secondary is actually really good. Like, I've been very surprised by how good their secondary is. And they can defend the thing that Syracuse does best, which is throw the football. So, I think that UConn can not only cover the 10.5, I think they can win the game outright. So, UConn plus 330 at Syracuse for the first one. Now, my second game, I do 8 of these per week. Typically do pretty well, or have been, at least, over the past few weeks. So just things where we can kind of see where the momentum's going, right? The second game for me, Maryland, plus 200 at home against Iowa. People all week have been betting Iowa like they know what the final score is going to be, and I do not understand it. Brendan Sullivan, the quarterback, is out for the season. Cade McNamara may not play. And even if he does play, has McNamara shown you anything to make you feel good about him being your quarterback? Maryland is not great by any stretch of the imagination, but Iowa is going to try and lean on the run here. If they lean on the run, Maryland is really good at defending the run. Go look at the stats. That's their bread and butter. That's what they can do. If Iowa can't throw the football, their offense may have some trouble scoring. It would not surprise me to see Maryland get that win outright. They need a win in order to get to a bowl game, so they're at home. They've got motivation, all that kind of stuff. So, Maryland plus 200 on that one. Game 3. I don't love this one, but Vanderbilt plus 260 at LSU. It's Death Valley at night. Typically, something like that, when you've got a spread that's only like 7.5, you would be all over LSU. But in this situation, with the way that LSU has just completely fallen apart to end this season, I don't know how motivated they are. There seems to be some dissension within the roster, within the locker room, between the players and the coaches and whatever else might be. And they can obviously get that fixed. So maybe this is just, I don't even know what you would call this, but from what I've seen, Vanderbilt fights with everybody. They were not able to match up with what South Carolina was throwing at them. But in this situation, I don't know if LSU has checked out or not. If they've checked out, Vanderbilt can absolutely drag you into the mud and beat you. So, Vandy plus 260. Game 4, we're going to take Air Force plus 143 at Nevada to win outright. Air Force is playing significantly better. Nevada they've lost 4 in a row. Don't know how much there is left in the tank, how much there is left as far as depth, and Air Force appears to be peaking at the right time. The offense looks significantly better since they went to Hayes. And so I think that they can run on the Wolfpack. We'll see what the Nevada offense does. We'll see about that. Game 5, UAB plus 198. That's the best number you could find on Rice, or at Rice. On Rice. It's like we're talking about food. Rice is favored by like 7.5 here. I understand UAB got beat last week. I understand there's, injury concerns, whatever. UAB is at home. And do I think that Trent Dilfer was not a great hire for that program? Yeah, I agree with all these things. However, they have shown some fight. Their defense is not great, but neither is Rice's. Neither is the defense for Rice. Anyway, I don't understand why you would lay points with Rice, especially on the road, especially after they fired their coach. None of it makes any sense to me. So UAB plus 198 to win outright at home against the Rice Owls. Number 6, this is a short one. West Virginia plus 130 at home against UCF. The advanced numbers would tell you UCF is better. And UCF has been playing better since they switched quarterbacks over to the Rizek kid. But West Virginia needs a win to get to a bowl game. So they're at home playing against a team that also needs a win to make it to a bowl game. I think Morgantown it's especially hard to get to from Orlando, but that's a rowdy, raucous environment. I think they're going to be fired up. I'll take West Virginia plus 130. Game number 7. Duke plus 135 at home against Virginia Tech. All of my numbers have Duke favored. That's my last 4 model. That's my stats model. That's my power rating, like all of it. I've got Duke better than Virginia Tech. And yet Virginia Tech is favored by like 3.5, whatever it is. I think Duke wins the game outright. I still don't think people fully understand that this Duke team has 7 wins on the season. They are really good defensively. On offense, they can surprise you because of how quick they move. Malik Murphy is still a phenomenal athlete. This is an interesting one. So, yeah, Duke plus 135 at home against Virginia Tech. And then number 8. I had to toss it on here. I don't necessarily believe in it, but has Indiana given you any reason to doubt them? Like, other than the second half against Michigan. They couldn't run the ball. 28 carries for 40 yards. So as far as talent goes, yeah, they certainly don't stack up as far as just athlete for athlete. This is a team that really does not make mistakes. Ohio State now down 2 starting offensive linemen, their center and their left tackle, the 2 most important positions on the line. And we've seen Ohio State get flustered before. They should be fired up for this. It's a top 5 matchup, but Nebraska nearly went in there and, pulled off an upset. Almost. It was 21-17, and they had the ball late. I think Ohio State covers here. I think they're going to be fired up for this game. I think the Nebraska game had everything to do with the fact that Indiana had beaten them 56-7 the week before. So Nebraska wanted to come out fired up, and Ohio State thought they could sleepwalk through it. Here's an interesting thought about the Indiana game. Yeah, you got to get fired up for this one. But the guys on that team have lost 3 straight to Michigan, and that game is next week. I wouldn't imagine that they're not focused, but you just never know. So I'm tossing it on here anyway. Indiana plus 375 at Ohio State. Gary, why didn't you add Army? Army ain't happening. That ain't happening. So y'all can laugh at me later if you want to, but I'm telling you, I don't believe that. I almost tossed BYU on here, almost tossed Marshall. Kind of thought about Virginia, but I don't think Virginia can stack up against SMU. Regardless, here's our rundown, our recap, whatever you would like to call it. UConn plus 330 against Syracuse. Maryland plus 200 against Iowa. Vandy plus 260 against LSU. Air Force plus 143 against Nevada. UAB plus 198 at home against Rice. West Virginia plus 130 at home against UCF. Duke plus 135 at home against Virginia Tech. And Indiana plus 375 on the road in Columbus against the Ohio State Buckeyes. Not too shabby. Thanks for listening to Winning Cures Everything. Make sure and follow me on Twitter at GaryWCE. If you want to toss in a question, you can email me, Gary@winningcureseverything.com. Make sure and hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you next time.